Alright everybody, welcome back to another game of Global War 1936. We will be starting a new game with this one, Operation Stonewall. We're going to be playing as the Comintern. The veteran will be taking over the European Axis, Be Nasty will take Japan, and Jambaro will take the Allies. I do believe we have no housekeeping to address, so let's just jump straight into it with the first CCP turn. We have 2 to spend. We're going to be spending none of it in our production phase. We're going to be spending as much as we can on our influence at the end of the turn. For our combat movement, we're going to be sending a cavalry and 2 mountain infantry into Szechuan to hopefully capture that. So let's go ahead and roll that out. We have 3 die rolling at 2 in the mountains, and he has 1 militia and 1 infantry in defense. That's no hits on attack. In defense, also no hits. Round 2. There's a hit. And in defense, oh, there's also a hit. Oh well. He loses a militia. We'll lose a cavalry. And we're going to press. There's another hit. And there's a miss. Okay. So Szechuan is captured with 1 cavalry lost. Alright. On to the end of our turn, we'll roll for influence of Hopei and Beiping. We'll be spending both of our saved IPP on increasing the chance that that succeeds, so we will be rolling at a 4 or less on influencing Beiping and Hopei. That is a 10 and sadly a miss. And then we have a recruit roll that hits on a 2 or less. That's a 12 and also a miss. And with that, CCP are done. Now we can move on to the Soviet Union. We will start, as always, with the tech roll. We have just 1 associated with our strategic objective of rapid industrialization. So we will be rolling for improved construction, hitting on a 7 or higher. That's a 3 and a miss. Not rolling so well on my first turn. Oh well. On to our production phase, we have 4 to spend. We're going to be spending 3 of it on Lend-Leasing and infantry, which will leave us with 1 saved. Alright, on to the combat movement phase. We do have a couple of combats in Spain. 1 infantry from Eastern Andalusia is capturing Western Andalusia. There. And we have the rest of our units attempting to take the Basque country as well. 1 infantry from Catalonia, 2 infantry from Madrid, 1 cavalry from Eastern Andalusia, and then a fighter and a medium bomber also from Madrid. The Spanish nationalists do have an opportunity to scramble their fighter out of Galicia and Leon, but the veteran has opted not to do that this turn. So let's go ahead and roll out the battle as it is. We'll start with 2 first strike artillery in defense, rolling at a 3 or less. Both missed. Good news. There's no air superiority, so we'll just go ahead and roll out the rest. We have in attack 3 infantry rolling at 1 in mountains, cavalry rolling at 2 in mountains, a fighter at 6, and a medium bomber at 7. 1, 2 hits total, and then in defense we have 1 additional infantry that has not yet rolled. That does get a hit. Okay, so the 2 artillery for the Nationalists are dead, and the Republicans are going to lose an infantry. Round 2. We did get our last hit, and in defense, 1 infantry at 4 misses. That battle is over, with 1 infantry rather lost for the Republicans. Yeah. And then the 2 aircraft will land in Catalonia. At the end of the combat movement phase. With that, our combat movement phase is done. Let's move on to the non-combat movement phase. We have lots to do here. The Republican fleet is moving from M1 into M2. And then let's start on the Russian ones. We'll start in the Baltic Sea. 2 submarines from A14 are moving 1, 2, 3 into A23. They are passing through the Kaiser Wilhelm Canal, which the veteran has graciously given us permission to use. And then the light cruiser and destroyer are going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 into A22. Continuing the naval movements, we'll go to the Far East. The submarine and the TBD both have 3 movement from this sea zone right now. They're going to move 1, 2, 3 into P41. And now on to the central land movements. From Primorsky Krai, we have an infantry moving to Amur. From Amur, we have an infantry moving to Chita. And an infantry is also moving to Chita from Yakutsk. We have a cavalry from Novosibirsk moving to Buryatia. We have, I didn't tell him what to do. An infantry from Novosibirsk moving east into Angara. We have an infantry from Turkmenistan railing to Chita. We have a motor infantry in central Kazakhstan driving to Stalingrad. An infantry from western Kazakhstan marching into Stalingrad. Cavalry from North Caucasia going into Stalingrad. We have an infantry from Stalingrad moving south into Kalmytskaya. Infantry from North Caucasia moving into Transcaucasia. Infantry from Crimea moving into Donetsk-Kuban through the narrow crossing. Infantry from southern Ukraine into Kyiv, western Ukraine into Kyiv. Light armor from Kyiv into Oral-Kursk. Infantry from eastern Ukraine into Oral-Kursk. Motor infantry from eastern Ukraine into Oral-Kursk. motor infantry from Stalingrad into Oral-Kursk. We have a seaplane from Donetsk-Kuban flying 1, 2, 3, 4 into Stalingrad. Leningrad, rather, sorry. We have a fighter from Oral-Kursk flying to Moscow. Tactical bomber from Moscow, strategic railing to Cheetah. Hold on. Do I only have one rail capacity? I'm going to have to look up a rule at this before submitting everything. If I only have one rail capacity, then keep the tactical bomber and we'll move the infantry into Western Kazakhstan from Turkmenistan instead of railing it if I can't rail it. Okay, moving on. From Moscow, we have a air transport flying 1, 2, 3, 4 into Eastern Kazakhstan. We have an infantry from Saratov moving into Moscow, and also from Gorky into Moscow. Infantry from Moscow moving up into Western Russia. Infantry from Northern Russia into Western Russia. Infantry from Karelia into Leningrad, and from Western Russia into Leningrad. Cavalry from Western Russia to Oral-Kursk. Light tank from Smolensk into Oral-Kursk. And an infantry from Smolensk into northern Belarusia, and from southern Belarusia to northern. I do believe that covers everything. So with that, we can place our buys and collect our income. We'll start with our recruit rolls. We'll recruiting at an 8 or less for the Republicans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fantastic. We've got another infantry, and that'll go in Catalonia. Roll for recruitment in Mongolia at a 4 or less. That is a 6 and sadly a miss. We've already rolled for China's recruitment. Okay. Let's go ahead and place our buys, which is a Lend-Leased. That's the axis. Lend-Leased infantry. Start our supply path in M10 and move 1, 2. Let's see, the second has coastal submarines. Okay. Yeah, should have asked. I'm reasonably confident he doesn't want to interdict. Probably doesn't want to increase the Soviet income for just an infantry. But I will go ahead and ask him, and I'll go ahead and roll it out here just in case he does want to interdict. We're going to be sending the supply through M2 and into M1 to land in Catalonia, which would mean a single interdicting die at at 3 or less. That would be a miss either way. You know what? I'm not even going to bother asking. So we've got a infantry delivered to Catalonia. And then we have an income of 4, so we will collect up to 5. CCP also just collects 2 from Shinzi. We also get to place these 2 units. and those will go in the Black Sea. Alright, I do believe with that we have everything in place so we can pass things along to Be Nasty for the next Japanese turn. So we'll leave things there and say best of luck on your next rolls.